All right. Well, good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We are almost about to get started here. Give another minute for everyone to join on in, and we will kick it off here shortly. All right. I'm a little sad that our sunshine went away today.
Right.
Just
I
just
might
pure
have a
rain.
little
Uh,
bit.
maybe you'll send it my way. All
It's
right.
gonna stop being cold.
I agree. It is some sunshine. All right, I know we have people filtering in, but just for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today on this Tuesday. My name is Mindy. I'm the sales manager here at Smart Deploy. And we also have Jeff as well. He's our sales engineer. Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
And he will be walking us through a product intro, walking us through how the product is easy to use and just kind of take us through the whole infrastructure. So I'll kind of kick it over to you, Jeff.
Excellent. Thank you, Mindy, and thank you for everyone joining us today. As Mindy said, I'm Jeff Cullen. I'm a sales engineer over here at Smart Deploy, and I will be running most of this demo today. So a little bit about who we are. Smart Deploy began 2012, a little bit earlier, really as a hardware independent imaging has always been our focus. In the early days, we were doing a lot of configurations of virtual machines for a lot of different clients. And through that, we found that instead of throwing people at the solution, we could just create a software that could configure these virtual machines for us. We took that idea and decided, hey, why can't we just take these blank images and start adding on drivers and things like that, and then go to physical machines and really kind of simplify the imaging process. And that's really where Smart Deploy, got started. Since then, it's been awesome. We've added cloud deployment, added things like that. Since joined the PDQ family last year with their deployments, things like that, and a lot of cool special things coming out. So just give a little quick overview of Smart Deploy and just what it can do. There's a lot of different flexible management options, including offline USBs that can pull directly from the network. We can do Pixie boots. We can create a custom boot image that can get loaded into a WDS server and sent out through there. We can deploy through local connections, or we can deploy through the cloud. So that's great for this remote environment that we're working with now. Someone at home needs their new image, needs something, an application or something like that to apply. We can send that directly through the console to their machine through our service. That way they don't have to come into the office. Platform packs, those are going to be all of our driver packages. This keeps our images hardware independent, saves you time, saves you the hassle of having to configure these. We have about 13 to 1500 different platform packs available to download. That's ever expanding, adding new devices, things like that. You also have the option to change and customize and do all those stuff. Everything is easy to use, consistent, reliable. Once you have that image, once you have those applications, everything runs synergized together very nicely. Everything is wizard driven, just really simplifying and making it easier for people. And then, just keeping those machines up to date, that's a big part of it, through patch management, through applications, through new images, new versions of Windows, things like that. We support Windows 10, we support Windows 11, always keeping that up to date. So here we have a little bit of comparison from a couple of G2 surveys. As you can see, we outperform a lot of the major ones there. And with all that being said, that will bring us to our first poll that I will kick over to Mindy to start of what you're currently using.
All right, so what solution are you currently using for imaging? You guys should see that up on the screen. Be able to also vote. Looks like we'll give it a few more seconds here as we gather some information. All right, we have SECM, MDT, Ghost, doing everything by hand, and other. We'll go ahead and close out the poll. And let's see. All right, so the results are we have about 36% of the users today that are on the call just doing things manually, which I'm sure a lot of them can kind of lean into that pain point of doing things manually and needing a product that's a lot easier, similar to that of Smart Deploy. So, uh, 12% are using MDT, another free tool that we see here. There's a small percentage using SCCM, and we do have the other larger half using another product that we didn't list there today.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, this is some pretty surprising. I would figure that, maybe MDT or Ghost or something like that. But yeah, doing it by hand, can definitely be very time consuming. And that's really where we want to come in to make this easier for everybody. So I'm going to jump directly into our product tool here. So just get started. This is the Smart Deploy console. This is where we're going to be doing all of our stuff, creating an image, creating those platform packs, applications, things like that, managing our devices. This is going to be the main hub of all of that. Now, to really kind of show how easy Smart Deploy is to use, really the base idea here is we will create a virtual machine. So if I come into activities and go rename devices, this is going to lay out all the steps to creating our deployment. And this is everything that we need to do. So two things outside of Smart Deploy that you would need is a virtualization software, Hyper-V, Oracle VirtualBox, those are free ones. If you're using a server VM, ESXi, things like that, that also is acceptable too. We have a build wizard here that will help us create these virtual machines that works with Oracle VirtualBox and VMware. If you prefer to create the virtual machine, you're very familiar with VMs outside of Smart Deploy, you're welcome to do that as well. You will also need the latest version of Windows, so just the media creation tool, whatever you're using. Download the latest ISO. From there, we will build this virtual machine either using our built-in VM wizard here or just through the machine. We'll run through, install Windows, create an offline account, load into the OS. We don't want to tie to any domains or anything like that. Again, the idea here is that we're going to keep a hardware-independent image that's universal to any deployment that we want to do. That way we can configure everything on one machine, install the software that we need, capture that image, and then move on, and then we can just deploy it to whatever. Not having to do it over and over again in that manual process that a lot of you are doing. Really just do it once, set it, forget it, send it out. So once we have this virtual machine all set up and ready to go, we'll run all the Windows updates. From there, we can move on to the next step once updates have been applied and the offline account has been created, or we can start installing any software on there that we would like to have just pre-configured on that image. Once we have that image, we'll move on to the next step here, which is capturing that image. That's going to select that virtual hard disk. If you're using a server VM, there's a slightly different process to that, but it's more or less the same easiness. This is all wizard driven. Again, it's going to ask you to select the disk. It will create that image. That image will then show up here. So we can come in here and we can see the size and when it was modified, things like that. Once we have our Windows image created from our virtual machine, we would download our platform packs. That was something I touched a little bit on the slides there. But the platform packs are going to be all of our driver packages. These are all self-contained. They are specific to makes and models of the machine. These are things that we manually built. You can also customize these if you would need to add any drivers, change any drivers. If you would like to build your own, say you have a really obscure Alienware or something like that that we might not have a platform pack for, we'd happily, commission out to create that for you. Or if you'd like to build on your own, lots of resources online, we can do that. These do include BIOS updates, network drivers, storage drivers, some of the software for like Dell and HPs. That just make management a little bit easier. Whatever it needs, no bloatware, none of that hassle or anything like that. It's very specific to what these machines need. Once we have these downloaded, and we jump back here to our list of things that we need to do here, we would create an answer file. And that answer file is going to point to what image we're using, where the platform packs are coming from, which applications we would like to install, what domain we would like to join, how we would like to name the machines, date, time, things like that. Those will all be established through there. Once we have our answer file, we would just go into create media. So I'm going to actually open up this wizard just to give you some idea of what this looks like here. So from here, we would select which media device we want to use. So we have our image, we have our platform packs. So to make this simple, The first two are relatively the same. That's going to be USB, DVD, or an ISO. The difference being the boot media will stream everything through the network, gathering all those files and deploying. The offline will save everything to the USB. That way, if I need to go image a laptop in a shack somewhere, I can just create that, move out, do that, do whatever I need. WDS, SmartDeploy integrates with WDS. We don't have a Pixie server ourselves, but we just create a custom boot WIM, as I was mentioning before. That gets loaded into our WDS server. And then from there, we can just hit F12, network boot, select the image that we want, and then SmartDeploy will take over. Deployment package, that is what we would use for our SmartDeploy console, and that's something I'll get over here in a second, but we would be able to image a device through our console here. But just to give it a quick overview here, I would select this. First thing I'm going to select is which platform packs I want to include. As I was saying before, the image is hardware independent. The platform packs are all the drivers. These have filters to figure out the make and the model of the machine during a deployment. That makes it easy on you. So you just download the platform packs you need. You have that image that you created through a virtual machine. SmartDeploy figures out which drivers it needs, applies the correct corresponding drivers, and then begins imaging that machine. The next option is going to select our answer file, which I was saying is going to be, all of the out-of-box things, name, domain join, things like that. We can select multiple for creating USB just to select on the fly, what configurations we want for a deployment. If not, I just select a single one, and then that would just apply what I have there. And then from there, it's really just dependent on what deployment we're doing. So I'll just click through this really fast. I can add a password if I want. I would select my USB. I would save it as an ISO, save it to a location. I'm going to do SmartDeploy. Finish, save. That's going to build that deployment. All I would need to do then is take out that, plug it into a machine, boot into whatever device I am using. That's going to run through the process, add the image, add the platform packs, add all of the things that we would like it to add during the deployment. From there, takes about 10-15 minutes or so, depending on the size of your image, depending on network speed and the machine, of course. But once it's applied, that's finalized, ready for any final little configurations that you might need to be do, and then ready to go. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to talk about the different options in SmartDeploy. So building the image, very easy. Build the image, platform packs, applications, things like that. Application packs are one thing I'd like to touch on really fast. These are going to be installing any applications, of course. We can also run scripts. We can map drive. We can do regedits. We can do a lot of different stuff. Really, as long as we can run it silently through a command line or PSExec, it is something that we can do with SmartDeploy. We also have a lot of different platform packs available to download here that we have pre-configured and pre-established for you that we keep up to date. Those include, 7-zip, Chrome, things like that. We have a couple of scripts to run GP updates, Teams, LAN, things like that. If we didn't have one that we had that you needed, we could come in here, and this is another, simple ease of use thing. We can create one, we can create an advanced one, or we can create one using our wizard, and that is one thing I'd like to show off here. So creating an application pack is as easy as first selecting the folder. So example here, I have Slack. I'd select the folder. It's going to assume that I'd want everything from here. I'd select the executable. SmartDeploy will fill in the information for you. All I need is the silent arguments to run this. If you're familiar with PQ or any other things that this might be familiar to you. So -S is going to be it for Slack. This is dependent on the model. If it's an EXE or those very specific arguments, MSIs will fill in for you, scripts will fill in for you, so you don't have to worry about it. EXEs are really the only ones that we got to find. Installation detection is going to make sure that this latest version is installed, or not installed, I should say. Summary of everything we've done. Finish, save. I'll save that as just a Slack pack. I'm going to cancel that. Once I have that, that will show up in here. And assuming I have the arguments and the installer file correct, this is all set. You can always come in here and edit it and have the advanced options to add additional tasks. So if I needed to add anything additional to the 7-zip, I have my simple run command here. I have this. I can come in and I can add, more commands if I wanted to. The major point that I'm trying to make here is we can make it as easy as possible. We can also add as intricate as you need to set up deployments and help automate your process. If you're doing it all by hand, right now, it's easier just to do it all at once and then just push that out to everything there. So that's really the deployment parts. I'm going to jump into computer management here. Computer management, everything is run through a client. This client can be either installed during a fresh installation using a USB or PXE boot. We can also generate a custom installer here, which has a API service URL that points directly to my console. This creates a little MSI. This can be pushed out through group policy or installed manually, depending on whatever you'd like to do. Once it is installed, that client will check back in. Now, the beauty of the client is it is either going to look for a local connection first. If it can't find a local connection, does that about 3 to 5 times every 90 seconds. If it can't find that, it will automatically switch over to the cloud. Now, if you were to start the trial and go through this, that cloud option, the cloud deployments, is completely testable. So it's already established, nothing additional that you need to do. We use an Azure broker service that fosters the communication between the two. We can see the connection type here. If it found the local connection, that will reflect here. If it's cloud, that will also show here. Now I can select one or multiple of these machines to deploy images, deploy application packs, update any of the drivers using those platform packs. I can capture and deploy user states. I can join the domain. I can rename the machine. I can also remote wipe, which just disables the Windows partition, making that machine inoperable until a fresh OS is applied. I can also update and remove and delete the client. If I was to remove it from here, it will send a message and it will uninstall the client for me, so I don't need to hassle with any of that stuff. But that's just to select one of these machines here. I have more basic information of that machine, whether or not Secure Boot's enabled, whether or not BitLocker is on there. I can also see all the software's installed. This does include all the softwares not installed through Smart Deploy. Just gonna scan the system. This is a virtual machine, not much to see here. We have a message history of anything that we've sent out. We can also come in and select multiple machines. So if I just wanted all of my machines on mine, no, it's not much, but I wanted all of these machines to just come in and install 7-zip and Chrome, I can push those. Helps if I actually select things. I can just push out all these applications to all 2 of these machines, and those will get those on their own time. Once they check in, download the files they need, and then run those. Moving down in the application management here, software management is going to give us a broad scope of everything installed on machines. Again, I have it installed on 2 virtual machines, so nothing too exciting here on my screen, but I can also group it by name to make it a little easier to see how many machines 7-zip's installed on, Chrome, Notepad, things like that. Those will all reflect here. If I needed to run just a mass uninstall or a mass upgrade of this software, I can also do it from here. So I can see which machines are using what versions and then update those accordingly if I wanted to. Patch management allows us to push out Windows updates. Not a complete WSS replacement, but it will force any updates, just keeping those all up to date for you. We can also enable to do any Microsoft updates, so Office things that are available there, we can push out and have installed. So that is really all that Smart Deploy, quick overview, high level overview there. I'd like to kick it over to Mindy again for one more poll and then answer some of your questions.
All right, thanks so much. And I did forget to mention at the beginning that we will also be announcing our raffle winner. So stick around for that, along with go ahead and start throwing in your questions there as well. We'll take some time to answer them here. So we'll go ahead and launch this last poll. It's just asking, what size is your IT team? Is it just you? Is it 2 to 4 employees, or is there 5+? We'll give it a few minutes as we gather that information. It looks like right now the winner is, it's close. It's between, I guess we're seeing Jeff in between 2 to 4 and 5+. There's actually still a large percentage where it's just one person, which, especially since we saw a huge percentage in manually doing it by hand, that's a lot of work for one person.
Yeah, one person doing all of that. I applaud you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I'll go ahead and share that out. All right, it looks like about 13% of you, it's just you. And then 2 to 4 is 39%, and about 5 plus we have as the winner at 48%.
Oh, wow. Kind of figured it'd
All
be more than
right.
2 to 4.
I know.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Quite a team there. All right. So we'll go ahead and first off, I'm going to announce the raffle winner here. Um, we will, you will also get notified after this. Uh, that one lucky raffle winner will receive 1 year of Smart Deploy Pro subscription for 25 licenses. This is an $870 value. So I'll go ahead and announce the winner. It looks like we have Dave Batter is going to be our winner today. So we'll go ahead and reach out to you individually and get you all set up with those licenses. So congratulations. That's an awesome value. Exciting. All right, Jeff, you're in the hot seat. We're going to go ahead and throw over some questions to you. Try my best to stump you. That's always my goal in one of these things. Can I send these experts a question that can stump them? I'm just kidding. All
Let's
right,
try.
so we're starting off with a little bit of information about the agent. So how big is the Smart Deploy agent, the client that you're referring to there?
Not large at all. Very, very, very small. Definitely less than a gig in size.
Okay,
Maybe like a half, maybe.
all right.
Yep, very, very, very lightweight.
Okay. And then I know we had some more questions about the user state migration tool, which will have somebody reach out to you individually to kind of walk through a more in-depth demo just for the sake of time. So we also have, is this something that can do BIOS updates as well?
Yep, absolutely. It was something that I kind of touched on, but I'll dig a little bit deeper into it. This does do BIOS updates, and these are included in the platform packs. So if for example you didn't want to do BIOS updates, so I'm going to take let's just do this Dell Latitude here. We can right click and edit these to see exactly what is going to be run. Now, I can guarantee that all of these will run BIOS updates. So if we come in here, we can see that this is a Dell Latitude. We can look at the filters here to see, make sure it's pointing to the right machine. And then you'll notice that there's two nodes here. There's the PE nodes. This is going to be everything in the PE environment just to get it to deploy. That's usually going to be, as you can see here, it's just, the Wi-Fi drivers. A lot of times you'll see storage drivers, things like that. Those will all be included in here. But into the Windows 10 mode, and this is another thing that I might as well just point out now, is these Windows 10 platform packs will also work with 11. So don't worry if it just says Windows 10. Go ahead and use it with your Windows 11 deployments, and it should work just fine. But from this node, you will see that there are BIOS updates. So those are something that can run. If you didn't want to, you can just come in here and delete them if you wanted.
Perfect. Thank you. I know there are a few questions in here about a recording. There will be an email of the recording afterwards. So for those of you who have to jump off, look out for that email and feel free to reach out to us if you do not receive that. So, all right, Jeff, let's see. We also have some questions about, can this tool also be used to deploy applications across the enterprise? So a little bit more into the application pack piece.
Yeah, as long as the client's checking in, and whether it's local or cloud, the client runs independently on the machine. So it doesn't need to be on the same domain or anything like that. The client just communicates directly through here. So as long as the client's installed, we can select any number of these machines, deploy them either through the local, or if they're working from home, we would just, and this is actually one thing that I didn't touch on, for the cloud portion, we would just authenticate to Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive. Those are our supported platforms. So here I have OneDrive already authenticated. That's going to create a refresh token. None of those credentials are being passed in plain text or anything like that. It's using that token to access the read of the directory that Smart Deploy creates. So in this case, I would authenticate here. If I wanted to do an actual image deployment, I would just need to upload the image, upload the platform packs by right-clicking /upload in the console. So with application packs, I would just right-click, upload to the cloud. I can see that it's uploaded via OneDrive here. So then I could just come in, select this machine, select cloud or select local, and then push out whatever I need. So as long as the client's installed, long and short of it, we can push it out either local or through the cloud.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you. That also brought me to one of my questions on the cloud portal. So appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can you wake on land with Smart Deploy? Is that feature available?
Yep.
Okay.
It does try wake on land when we push out an image or drivers or something like that.
All right. And I know we talked about application packs. Did we also talk about how to push updates there as well? Maybe a quick refresh on how to do that?
Yep. So updates. So depends on what updates we're talking about. I'll just touch on both of them.
It looks like, yeah, we were specifically talking about application, not Windows updates, but I think it's probably good to touch on both.
Okay. Yeah. So application pack updates. That the updates would be run through these packs. So I'm gonna open up 7-zip here. That's loading over there. So there is a version check to make sure that this version isn't already installed or if there isn't a newer one. So if we wanted to update, say 7-zip, for example, this is one that we have, so we'll keep it up to date usually to the latest version, things like that. If not, we would just need to come in here, remove this executable, replace it with a newer version. Some if you're using like a bootstrap or something like that, we can just redeploy it. But we would need to just update the application pack if it was one that you have. Then we would just come in here. I could select, say I have 500 machines. I'd select all 500. I could come in here, push this 7-zip or Chrome or whatever out. That runs it. If it needs an update, it's going to run that, update that application for you. If not, it's just going to tell you, hey, I don't need to do this, and then it will stop the operation and move on. And as I was pointing out before, we can come in here and we can see I have X amount of machines that have Notepad installed. I need to update this. I can just update on all clients that have this version of Notepad. So just to kind of simplify and make it a little bit easier for you. As for patch management, it's as simple as just selecting the machine, right click, install updates. I push it through the local network cloud. That makes the machine run those updates, download everything directly from Microsoft, and then just apply. It's kind of an all solution with those updates.
All right, thank you. Looks like there are a few questions here for me that I'll go ahead and tackle. Some questions about the trial version and what is included. It's a fully functional trial. You will get the cloud version. You'll get patch. You'll get everything that you're seeing here that Jeff demoed. So if you run into any issues, of course, reach out to us. We're happy to assist. There's also questions on how we're licensed. Smart Deploy is licensed and supported on a per machine basis. There are price breaks. So the larger quantity you buy at one time, the lower the overall cost per license is going to be. And we do have different packages based on the features that work best for your organization. So feel free to head to smartdeploy.com /download there, or you can email sales@smartdeploy to reach out to a rep with any of your additional questions. All right, we'll try to get through 2 more questions here before we wrap up. Does this support using Hyper-V?
Yep, it does support using Hyper-V. So let me close this here. Yeah, Hyper-V is kind of what I've been using recently, but yeah, it does support it. The one thing that I will point out here that is a little confusing to some people is we have a build wizard here. This doesn't do anything special to the virtual machine. So if you wanted to build it outside, that's totally fine. And Hyper-V is one of those instances and just the way that it runs. So if you drop down, you can see that it says Hyper-V, but you'll receive this message that says Hyper-V is supported, but please use the virtualization software to create the reference machine. You just need to build the reference machine through Hyper-V. and then you can use our capture process, and everything after that is completely fine. But it is supported. Same thing with server VMs, ESXi, things like that. vSphere, it's all supported.
Awesome. All right, and then just probably another brief overview of how we handle sysprep.
Yeah, so sysprep is, so we create the reference machine, which is blank. So nothing in that virtual machine is going to have any effect on your other machine. So sysprep is run during our deployment. Image is applied, sysprep is run, goes to the machine. Since it's a fresh image every time that it's installing, you don't have to worry about that sysprep count or anything like that. I know that's a question that comes up. So that being said, there are a lot of things, power options, for example, is something that sysprep will reset, but it's always going to run on every single one. We might need to make a few adjustments to make sure that you have hibernation or whatever set that way, and we have a couple of different ways that we can do that. But
All right. Well, we are at time today, and there are obviously a lot of questions. I'm sure you're wondering if your question's going to get answered. This is great. We will have someone reach out to you if you didn't get your question here today, or just follow up in general to make sure that you got every piece of your question. I know it's hard to be interactive during these demos. So, Jeff, I appreciate so much of your time. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And congratulations again to our winner there, Dave Batter, on those licenses. If you have any further questions that you weren't able to ask today in the queue, feel free to email sales@smartdeploy.com, and we will also be sending out a recording. So thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks, Jeff.
thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks. Bye.